Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Skyliners, and Skywatchers. Welcome to the Vash Sky ParkCast. My name is Vash Sky. I'm going to be your host of today's ceremonies here. We have so much to get to when it comes to the news of what's actually affecting theme parks and surrounding them, interestingly enough. We did cover the experiences, I guess it's the Walt Disney Company earnings call yesterday, but we did cover the experiences unit within that earnings call extensively. And one of the things that we were covering was Disney Cruise Line. We have an update on the breaking news story that we had yesterday. Apparently, it wasn't because of, employees not being in the United States legally and all that kind of stuff. Apparently, it was much more serious, but I wanted to go ahead and update you guys so that you knew that we weren't going to let a story just sit there, right? I wanted to go ahead and update you with the latest information. Also, too, we did get massive updates in the last couple of days regarding the future of a classic Disneyland attraction, that being Autopia. Very interesting stuff, what's going on there, and whether or not it's going to be around, I don't know. But I guess we'll see. Also, too, the closure and maybe retheming of another area, this time not at Disney, but at Universal Studios, specifically Islands of Adventure. We have all that coverage and a whole lot more here on today's show. Let's go ahead and bring up some of the people who have lovingly joined us for this Thursday evening. Let's see here. We have MagicalyMJ, of course, who's producing in the background. Do appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. Let me go ahead and get my views all situated in here. It's kind of funny because as I was putting together the show, I was like, okay, I'm going to get some awesome B-roll, going to do some research on these stories, and I was like, oh, it's time. So I'm a little bit behind there, but don't worry, guys. We'll have amazing coverage for you within today's program here. We have, let's see right there, Sargon in there. We have Juliet. Thank you so much for joining us and for modding for us. We have Kit Kat in the chat. We have Vixen Sky, Disney Fan 55, and a whole lot more. Thank you so much for coming in. Tom F., I see you in the chat right there, buddy. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get this first story out of the way initially here. I say out of the way because I don't like covering this stuff, and I can't even show you the headline of this, which I don't think I've ever had to do in my career when it comes to reporting Disney news on YouTube. But yes, we're going to take this very carefully because obviously it deals with some stuff that, could get you certainly in trouble with the law, but also, too, certain words can get you in trouble on YouTube. So let's see. This from Variety right here. Again, this was an update of our coverage yesterday when we actually broke this news. Staffers on a Disney cruise ship docked in San Diego were among 28 people arrested by U.S. Customs and Border Protection as part of a child exploitation material operation. That is not good. According to the federal agency, between April 23rd and April 27th, CBP boarded 8 cruise ships as part of an investigation. The agency did not specify that one was a Disney cruise. The Californian Post broke the news. Law enforcement interviewed 26 suspected crew members from the Philippines, 1 suspected crew member from Portugal, and 1 from Indonesia. Quote, officers confirmed that 27 of the 28 subjects were involved in either the receipt, the reception, possession, transportation, distribution, or viewing of child material there. A spokesperson for CBP said in a statement to Variety, CBP canceled their visas and these criminals have been returned to their countries of citizenship. Whoa! But Disney actually did respond to this. Spokesperson for Disney Cruise Line issued the following statement to Variety. We have a zero-tolerance policy for this type of behavior and fully cooperating with law enforcement. While the majority of these individuals were not from our cruise line, interesting, those who are no longer with the company. And that is good that they actually responded to this because I think it's extremely important that they get their mice feet in front of them on this particular subject right here. You do not want to be connected with this in any way. So it is good that they actually produced a statement. We're very upfront, we're honest, open, transparent about actually what happened, what went on, and that they emphasize that zero tolerance policy for something like this. Crazy stuff right here, but I wanted to go ahead and update you guys on everything that was actually going on, including recent news regarding Disney Cruise Line over there docked in San Diego. So, that's something. Anyway, All right, guys, let's go ahead and go on to happier news here. Very, very happy news as it relates to today's news at Universal Studios. Islands of Adventure, actually. Usually we're talking about Hollywood and FanFest and all those kind of things, but boy, oh boy, does Universal Studios Islands of Adventure have an amazing future in store for us. Here you go. Blog Mickey, Universal confirms closures and changes at Jurassic Park, Lost Continent, Mythos Restaurant, and Horror Makeup Show, and more. Just a huge spattering of news from all over this place. This by Mike here, May 7th, 2026. I'm going to go ahead and drop it in dark mode for you guys there. Universal Orlando Resort has confirmed that exciting changes are on the way for Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios Florida, and beyond. From a reimagined live show to a new signature restaurant and a City Walk edition tied to a familiar pop star name. Here's everything that's been announced, broken down by location. Universal Orlando Resort is continuing its unprecedented momentum as it prepares for a slate of compelling new guest offerings across the destination, ranging from new themed areas to delicious eateries. Oh yes, delicious indeed. In fact, maybe the best restaurant in all of Orlando. I don't, I never believe that, by the way. I know Theme Park Insider gave him those reviews, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I necessarily believe that Mythos was the very best that Orlando had to offer, at least from the theme park fair. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, because, well, when I was going to dine at Mythos, things happened that prevented me from doing so, and now I'll never be able to do that again. Dang it, man. But we'll get into it right here. While additional details will be shared in the months ahead, work will soon be underway and impact the following existing experiences. Starting first at Universal Studios Florida, right next door. The long-running Horror Makeup Show will undergo a temporary closure beginning May 12th, 2026. That's good. We were hearing something about maybe permanently closing this and, adapting this area for brand new attractions and so forth. I do think that Universal Studios Florida, along with Hollywood actually, would benefit from more live entertainment. So it's good that this is staying. Universal says the updated show will open later this year, featuring a mix of classic and modern horror properties. I like that. The tone will stay true to the comedic, irreverent spirit guests have come to expect from this attraction, with what Universal is calling, quote, shockingly fun surprises mixed in. No specific properties have been announced yet, but the framing around classic and modern horror is intriguing. I do agree. I think leaning into some classic horror along with maybe some modern horror titles is very appropriate for Universal Studios Florida, and showing you how makeup is actually performed is actually very beneficial for the audience. I remember being there, watched the show, I think, once a day while we were there at Universal Studios, at least Universal Studios Florida, and it was great. It was awesome, and it's a great way to break up your day from the rigmarole of attraction after attraction after attraction. So I like this. This is good. But this is only a tease to the very big news they announced today. Lost Continent at Islands of Adventure. This one is significant. Universal has now officially confirmed what permits and demolition activity have been hinting at for months. Venues and experiences within Lost Continent will permanently close in phases to make way for a new themed area. Universal confirmed earlier that construction activity was part of the site planning to ensure the area is ready for any future developments. Crucially, this announcement now includes the closure of the Mythos restaurant, which Universal confirmed will close in 2027. Universal has not announced what will replace Lost Continent, but the rumor mill is about to kick into overdrive. Yes, folks, Lost Continent is officially going away. We had been covering permits dating back, I want to say September of last year. So when a lot of those things were breaking out right there, I remember multiple shows going over the multitude of permits that were filed in the Universal area as part of, I believe, Project 555, if I remember correctly. And at the time, we speculated all kinds of things. And sure, some of that speculation is still happening. There's no question about that. But the big rumors going into this area, from Zelda to One Piece to Pokémon, is Pokémon. I think that's the one that is kind of bubbling its way to the top right there when you look at the rumor mill. But there are a lot of people who feel that, hey, One Piece might be on the way. And hey, look, listen, if One Piece is on the way for this area, that would actually be super cool news. I would love to see One Piece added to Islands of Adventure. Now, I hear anime involving all those properties outside of Pokemon might actually be going into various places. But in this particular location, looks like Pokemon is going to be the way to go. We'd also said back in the day about the possibility of maybe something revolving Zelda, and that had been part of the rumor mill for a long, long time right there. As I think Universal weighed their options, with their existing parks and kind of examining and going, okay, which properties should we really have in certain areas? Universal Studios Florida, actually, its Simpsons area looked like it was getting Pokemon for the longest time. But it looks like those plans maybe have changed. And I'm not sure exactly why. I've heard maybe rumors about Simpsons being extended a little bit. But again, I think the enthusiasm along with that long-standing contract that they had previously with Fox, now Disney, is running thin. So I'm not quite sure what is going on in the area, but when it comes to the Lost Continent area, this is very, very interesting because I think the architecture, I think, would have naturally lent itself to a Zelda expansion. I think that's why a lot of people were thinking that, and maybe even Universal 2 were thinking it as well. Hey, maybe we can go ahead and redesign some areas here to reflect Zelda, but largely, hey, look, to adapt it wouldn't take that much effort. And maybe Nintendo was like, well, that's one thing, but we also do have a Super Nintendo World over there at Epic Universe. So I think Zelda might be relegated to that position. You can see the shifting actually take place right here. And then Pokemon, it's like, okay, well, we have to do something with Lost Continent. It is on the way to some of the biggest attractions that we have at this entire resort in the form of Hagrid's Magical Creature Motorbike Adventure and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with its Forbidden Journey attraction right next door to Velocicoaster, right? So it's kind of like, okay, I think maybe, that the attractions on the way might be a little bit more significant than a corner attraction, that being Simpsons. And so bringing Pokemon in here, which is an idea. It's just kind of sad that we're, losing Poseidon forever. I know it's been closed for a long, long time, but I think that attraction was extremely unique. There are plenty of videos actually showing what that attraction was all about. It was very ambitious, I think, for Universal, especially at the time. And that, by the way, was not themed to an IP. It was just created for the park based on this kind of Lost Continent theme that they were going for. Obviously, a lot of that was diminished with the opening of Wizarding World of Harry Potter. But throughout all of this transition here, and let's not forget the Sinbad show that also got the axe pretty early on in Islands of Adventure's career. In all of this transition that Islands of Adventure has ever seen, that being the introduction of Kong, Wizarding World, Velocicoaster, all these different things that have really shaped this theme park experience, I think for the better, the one standout feature that has stayed from this Lost Continent area is really Mythos. Mythos has stayed as the premier #1 theme park food location, I guess, in the Orlando area for years and years now. Remember they had that sign up there with Theme Park Insider #1 restaurant right there. And look, as far as a design goes, it is beautiful. It's gorgeous from all sides right there. Has that great look out into the lagoon and some of those places right there. Real Ventures, yeah, Lost Continent, beautiful land. I do agree. It is gorgeous. Look at this right here. That is that's a restaurant, folks. Come on. That's absolutely awesome. I absolutely love that right there. And I kind of thought originally that, hey, maybe they actually keep this and little modification might be had to it. Apparently, though, it is going away. Now, I think that this location, because it's so prime, right, because it just looks over the water, it's amazing, it's beautiful, I'm pretty sure it will stay a dining location. Now, as far as a signature dining location, there might be some plans that involve another location in sort of the same area, at least at the back of the park, but on the opposite side of the lake, which is very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at those real quickly. There we go. Let's see. Thunder Falls Terrace at Islands of Adventure. Thunder Falls Terrace will close this summer and be reimagined as a brand new dining concept. Universal is billing this as the new signature full-service restaurant for Islands of Adventure, with a debut planned for 2027. Permits for an extensive interior refurbishment of Thunder Falls Terrace had been filed earlier in 2026, and apparently for the cost of $6 million, with rumors already suggesting that the venue could close to become a new full-service dining location to replace Mythos. And the announcement confirms that trajectory. With Mythos closing in 2027 as well, the timing lines up for a smooth handoff. Let's go ahead and see about those permits and what they actually look like, because I'm very, very curious to see them for myself and show you, as our audience, what they do look like. Here you go. This from Scott Walker. Thunder Falls Terrace, estimated cost $6 million. You can see right there, permit number, all of that. And yes, it is for the Thunder Falls Terrace restaurant. And in case you don't know what this is, because it is kind of in the back corner, nestled in between Kong, Skull Island, and the JP River Adventure out there, so it's kind of easy to miss. Let's go ahead and pull up Google Maps right here and get that going. First, though, before we do that, look at this right here. Awesome stuff. Jay! Drunk 3PO coming in here. Just dropping $10. Little super sticker right there with a little hippo, I believe. Turn this hat backwards with a thumbs up. Thank you so much, Jay. Really do appreciate you. Very much I appreciate everything you do. And hey, I meant it when I said over there on Capture the Magic's stream, with you on it, by the way. All of you are phenomenal. Theme Park Philosophy, Orange Grove 55, Capture the Magic, and you. Awesome, awesome stuff. Awesome coverage. If you haven't seen that yet, go over to Capture the Magic channel and tune into that. But I did mean it. I said I was praying for you and your channel. Hopefully everything gets resolved there with YouTube. I know YouTube is demonetizing all kinds of different things. So thank you so much for supporting us. We support you. And Jay, whenever you want to come on, hey, you can. So don't feel like you have to be an audience member. If you want to go ahead and contribute to the conversation, you can. Or you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Thank you, Jay. And we have Wolfo right here. Hey! What is going on? Awesome, awesome stuff. Very, very cool. Oh, during 3PO. We just needed you there. Everything has been resolved, brother. Wow. That is fantastic. Awesome, awesome stuff. Very, very cool to see that for sure. But Wolfo in there. Love that. Love you guys. That is super, super cool. I'm pulling up Google Maps right now, guys, and I'm going to show you what this whole thing looks like right here. Oh, Lady Gamester, great news. I do agree with that. All right, here we go. We can just get this right here. Here you go. All right, so this is what we're looking at right now. You can see right here that this is Universal's Islands of Adventure, and we just want to go ahead and drop this into satellite, yes, globe view, yes. Wait for it to load. There you go. That is the Islands of Adventure theme park right there. You actually enter into, oh, what is it called? Is it called Port Discovery? Port Adventure, I suppose. Basically, it's Port Discovery because a lot of the people that actually worked on Tokyo Disney Sea actually worked on this as well. So very, very interesting stuff right there. If we go ahead and do a little bit of a spin around here, we can actually see where Mythos is in relation to all of this stuff. So this right here, what you're seeing right now, is basically the Lost Haunted area. Now, a lot of the stuff is no longer active, right? Obviously, the Sinbad stunt show is no more, and the Poseidon show is no longer, up as well. In fact, actually, I think Ashley Carter had some photos of the area actually surrounded by construction walls, so we know that is out of the mix right here. But we can actually see Mythos right there, just peering out over the lagoon. It is beautiful. It is awesome. I love that. And where it's positioned actually is a great place for a dining location because it kind of cuts through. It's on the way to those amazing attractions beyond it, that being Velocicoaster and Hagrid's right there, which is very, very cool. Now, I do believe I was talking about it with some folks, and we think that this will remain a dining location, but in maybe more the vein of Toadstool Cafe, rather than a signature dining location. So we're thinking that's going to be the case. Don't know that for sure, but I would be surprised if this goes away as a dining location forever. However, I suppose there is that possibility. What will be taking up residence in its place, at least for now, it's going to be this location right over here. So if we go across this lagoon right here, I'm going to switch that camera just a little bit in order to show you this. Right here, nestled in between the Jurassic Park River Adventure and Kong Skull Island, is that Thunder Falls Terrace. Blink and you miss it. It's kind of the way I look at this. And look, I mean, it's a location that can certainly serve quite a few folks, especially if they're looking for a signature dining experience. But I don't know if it's going to be necessarily as popular as Mythos was, just based on its location, its relation to everything else. You can kind of see right here. It's nestled right there at the back corner that almost nobody goes to. Now, I mean, people might be going to Kong Skull Island, but if you were interested in that attraction, you might be better served going the other way around the lagoon there, that being through Superhero Island and you know, right next to Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls and so forth, taking that path over rather than the other one that goes through Seuss Landing, Lost Continent, Wizarding World, Jurassic Park, all of that. So I remember when I walked in there the last time that I was there, that was August of 2023, almost nobody was in there. So I do kind of wonder how this is all going to work out. They're spending $6 million, though, to actually retheme that restaurant in order to serve these guests looking for a signature dining experience. Will it all work out? I have no idea, but I'm very, very curious to see. We have O2RR in the chat right there. He is going to support us with $4.99. Thank you so much. Very much appreciate that, good sir. Thank you. Thanks to Tom. Ron got to listen to the Sharks in the Boardroom yesterday. He had a fun time clapping his hands near the end of the song, just like you. Well, that's fantastic. That's good. I love that. That's a great song, and that is fantastic that Ron got to hear that. Awesome stuff, and thank you so much, O2RR, for supporting this channel. Very, very cool. Oh, Tom makes some excellent music, actually. In fact, I'm hoping I can actually debut the new song for Vash and Vixen over there on Saturday. That's going to be for members only at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's such a good show. It's fantastic. We're going to be covering a lot of history, both theme park history and some movie history, so definitely check that out. Amazing stuff. Over here, though, Islands of Adventure are going to be changing a lot. Let's see if Blog Mickey has any more information regarding all of this. Let's see. Fat One's Hot Dog and Italian Ice at Universal City Walk. Fat One's Hot Dogs and Italian Ice, founded by the NSYNC member Joey Fatone and his manager Joe Malvahill, is coming to Universal City Walk. The concept will feature creative hot dogs, ice, Italian ices, and more. The Hot Dog Hall of Fame will close in July to make way for the new venue. And this is, of course, in addition to Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift coming over there at Universal Studios Florida over there, which is, man, so significant how many different additions we're getting in the already pre-established theme parks outside of Epic Universe. And we know that we're getting stuff in Epic Universe as well. So all these updates run the gamut here. We have like multiple permits that have been filed over the last almost a year or so, going back to September, like I was saying before. This one filed in October right here. And this one right here, we thought this permit that included the mention of Intamin was actually part of Project 555, the Lost Continent area and everything like that. Apparently it wasn't, though. The suggestion of Intamin being part of this whole project, that is exclusively for what's going on at Universal Studios Florida, that being the Fast and Furious coaster. It's nothing to do with the Lost Continent area, at least not yet. Intamin might be imagining a ride for them right now, but we haven't seen the permits actually filed that show that. So I want to go ahead and be clear about that because, again, there was some previous reporting that suggested otherwise. I'm here to tell you that it's not, unfortunately, true. But what is true, Islands of Adventure, Lost Continent is going away. Again, this was a beautiful area, and it kind of just showed the ambition, I think, of the 90s era, well, Universal staff and creatives and so forth, management, right? They were really, really ambitious with their plans. In fact, I mean, the plans for Epic Universe actually originated out of this era in the 1990s, which is really, really interesting. Obviously, they they had to cut all of those plans short when Islands of Adventure opened because, unfortunately, it just... This park, you know, now we look at it and we go, wow, this is like the best park in Orlando, right? But when it began, it just wasn't that heavily attended. And it was really, really sad because, man, this park, when it opened, it was outrageous. It was really, really good. But that Universal Escape, I do believe, marketing campaign just did not work at all. And not a lot of people came. And, I mean, it got rough for the previous owner of Universal for a little while there. In fact, they actually had to sell off ownership stakes in this theme park specifically just to stay afloat. Yeah, there was a time when Islands of Adventure wasn't fully owned by Universal, which is kind of crazy to think about. That all changed, obviously, when J.K. Rowling, you know, instead of going with Disney, says, hey, I'm going with Universal instead because, you know what, you're not going to give me what I want for my Wizarding World. And Universal was happy to oblige, and obviously the prospects for this park and for Universal theme parks as a whole and the industry changed forever. At around that same time, that's when Comcast buys back in or buys out Universal Studios and NBC Entertainment and everything else. And that's where we have kind of the modern era of the theme park wars as it currently exists right now. I mean, everything changed forever with the first version of Wizarding World. And this park, especially its trajectory, just, I mean, sky's the limit, honestly, on its future, which is really, really cool to see. But I guess as a casualty of all those things, well, I guess we can include the Lost Continent area, which is really sad. I don't like that. I mean, I would prefer to obviously keep, the Lost Continent area and maybe infuse it with more ideas. But everything's so IP heavy now, you know, to expect that they would invest in a non-IP property in any way in the modern era. I just don't see it. This is definitely a relic of the past, and it's sad. It's sad that it had to change, and it is getting altered to the extent that it is. But c'est la vie. That is what is certainly what is happening here, and it's it's sad. But what we can look at on the other end, I think is extremely exciting. A lot of people have been anticipating Pokemon coming to the domestic parks. They Universal Studios, actually originating out of Japan, did say that they did strike a deal in order to bring Pokemon attractions, Pokemon themed attractions and so forth to their parks, not just domestically, which for them would be in Universal Studios Japan, but also to internationally. They want to bring these attractions all over the world. And I think it's really, really awesome. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I'm super excited to see what Universal actually brings in terms of the Pokemon franchise. I mean, it is like one of the biggest franchises in the world. Honestly, I mean, it's absolutely huge. Everybody remembers the Pokemon Go craze that took over just about everything back in the day when that actually came out. And now we know that, well, its history, I guess, is a complex one, isn't it? But people were really excited to catch them all when it came to the locations around their home. Very, very interesting stuff right there. But no, I mean, it's an anime franchise. Well, I say anime franchise really has its origins in games and Pokemon cards, obviously manga. It has become an anime, but it's a Japanese franchise. I think that has endured the test of time. It's kind of like, Super Mario or maybe Zelda, right? This is why it's maybe appropriate. It's interlinked with Nintendo so much, because those Nintendo brands have superseded their original platforms, their origination as they existed, right? They are looked at as amazing franchises the world over. So it is, I guess, appropriate that it's taking, it's going to be eventually be coming to Universal Orlando Resort in the Lost Continent area. That's probably appropriate as well. You can see right here, by the way, by Reconstruct, amazing helicopter footage that he actually gets right there. You can see pieces of the Sinbad experience actually being drug out of this area, which is interesting. Do they actually reuse that show space for something maybe Pokemon themed? That's an idea right there. But I remember seeing these images not too long ago before this bigger announcement right here, and I was like, so things are moving, and they're moving at a pace there. I'm glad to see that Universal has actually said that something is coming. Now, in classic Universal fashion, they haven't specified what that is, and probably won't until track for something is installed, or some other themed elements that we can actually see from maybe BioReconstruct's amazing camera, which is most unfortunate. But c'est la vie, that's what we're getting, and I guess we'll have to monitor this area to see exactly what we're going to get. But again, the rumor mill, as far as it goes, Pokemon is absolutely at the top of the speculation meter right now, followed by One Piece. One Piece is definitely up there. I do think One Piece eventually comes to Universal Orlando. I just don't know if it's in this specific area. Might be in Islands of Adventure. That's going to be very, very interesting. And then beyond that, then you have Zelda, which I also think is coming. Maybe not in that specific area, though. O2RR coming in here. Yes, thank you for reporting that important news. US Japan officially announcing that was a big giveaway on what could replace Lost Continent. Absolutely. When Pokemon was officially announced, it was a huge, huge deal. And you can actually see right here, let's see, some reporting by... let's see, from, I think it was Disney Tourist Blog. Am I right there? They had their coverage when that was originally announced back in January of this year, by the way. So not too long ago. Let me go ahead and switch the view there. We're experimenting with some new views on this channel here, folks, depending on what you guys might like. You can see January 22nd, 2026, Pokemon rides coming to Universal theme parks, and also 2 on the park stop, obviously, included in that coverage as well. Alicia Stella doing a great job, and I think Alicia Stella's recent videos have suggested that Pokemon might be coming as well. So honestly, it was just up to what actually happens with Lost Continent. Like when will we get an official announcement that it is closing? It looks like we are there currently. So there you go. Awesome stuff. Maybe not awesome for fans of the Lost Continent area, that's for sure. But I think awesome stuff for the future of this theme park. Something had to change. Something had to give when it came to Lost Continent. They couldn't leave it the way it is. It was maybe a little bit embarrassing, actually, when I went in August of 2023, walking through the area and just seeing kind of a husk of a land. You can tell that there was ambition here at one point and that it had faded. So bringing in a brand new property, I think, is good. And Universal actually saying something I think is good as well. We have a big update for you, though, on an original attraction over there at Disneyland. Let's go ahead and bring that on screen right now. Switch my view one more time here from the Orange County Register. Now, usually their articles are behind a paywall, but this was available, so your mileage may vary. They are making this semi-available, so hopefully it's okay that I read this, but you never know. Anyway, what is it? Brady McDonald over there at the Orange County Register does a fantastic job covering all this stuff, and they were the ones that break this news originally, so I want to go ahead and give them credit. The Orange County Register, Disneyland to launch electric Autopia cars in early 2027. Disneyland is designing, engineering, and testing a fully electric ride vehicle prototype. Most interesting indeed. Disneyland plans to update Autopia with fully electric vehicles and retire the gas engines that have powered the Tomorrowland racetrack attraction since the 1955 debut of the Anaheim theme park. Disneyland has an agreement with the California Air Resources Board to retire the current Autopia gas-powered engines in early 2027, according to Disneyland officials. That's interesting because I remember hearing about this back in, I believe, 2024, when we originally covered the story that Disneyland was going to be converting their gas-powered engines to electric. And I remember speculating at the time, interestingly enough, like, how is that at all going to work? Because I mean, if you know how this attraction is set up, you know that it's not easy to do that. Let me go ahead and bring this B-roll up actually on screen so that we can give you an idea of what this attraction actually looks like right here. Wow, why is this black? What is going on there? Okay, so got a little bit of black screen. That's okay, folks. Don't worry. We'll go ahead and shift past that there. You can see right here, this is the Autopia attraction as it currently exists at Disneyland Resort. And it's sort of similar to the Tomorrowland Speedway over there at Magic Kingdom, but this one has some, terrain to it. It has certainly varied elements alongside it. Also sits above the Submarine Voyage, as it currently exists out there, Nemo, I believe, and also below the monorail. So, extensive redesign of this is not easy because you have literally a show building below and an attraction above. So it's really kind of unique in that way. Obviously, for the 1998 Tomorrowland, it reopened, I believe, in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, sponsored by Chevron, as this kind of new version of Autopia. There were many incarnations of Autopia, including, okay, this is going to be a little bit un-PC, but it really was an attraction out there. Midget Autopia, Junior Autopia, and so forth. They took all those disparate tracks right there, I believe in the 1990s, and combined them together to give us the version that we actually have today. Which is interesting. I mean, as far as ride length goes, it's phenomenal because it sprawls all out into that area just north of Tomorrowland, which is really, really cool. See a lot of trees and so forth. Used to have the peak mover actually go overhead. Well, I guess in this version, it was the rocket rods. But the interesting thing about the rocket rods is they only lasted one summer. So they never actually lived side by side there, which is a shame. But in previous iterations of Autopia, you did have the people mover actually moving over there. That was really cool. And look, it opened with the park. Actually, when it opened with the park, you see that center rail right there? Yeah, that wasn't actually a thing. Yes, you could actually pass the car in front of you. It was crazy. That didn't last very long at all, obviously. And I believe after the first day, I mean, the cars were so beat up and so forth, it was like, okay, we need major changes right here. And I believe there were 8 or 9 different iterations of Autopia, even leading up to the 2000 overhaul right there, which is really, really interesting. Bob Gurr worked on numerous versions in order to get this ride to be consistent. But in the early days, it was one of the top 3 attractions for the entire park. It went, I believe, Peter Pan, Railroad, Autopia, I think is the pecking order right there. This was a extremely popular attraction, and it has remained so. There have been conversations about, okay, could we actually, move this to Cars? That being the Cars Land area of Disney California Adventure. That obviously didn't take place. Cars Land has been open since 2012. There's no, they're not bringing that over there, which is interesting. And it does take up a lot of land. That's the most unfortunate thing about this attraction right here, is that maintenance-wise, obviously there's a cost to all of this. It's not really the highest capacity attraction that they have available, although they can control capacity by only having there are multiple rows of cars right there. Multiple lanes, I guess. And I think it's 4 or 6 or something like that. I can't quite remember in my head right now. I think it's maybe 4. Anyway, they can close down some of those lanes if they want to go ahead and keep capacity low on that attraction. The reason why you would do that is to, reduce maintenance costs, right? And that's the thing with this whole, new design for Autopia. In fact, let me go ahead and get back to the article and they'll give you the commentary here. Disneyland is working on designing, engineering, and testing a fully electric Autopia ride vehicle prototype, according to Disneyland officials. Disneyland will share more details soon on the updates planned for the Autopia attraction in Tomorrowland. Closing and reopening dates have not yet been set for the Autopia update. Disneyland originally announced plans in 2024 to convert Autopia from gas to electric power by the fall of 2026. Now coming 2027. Interesting how this keeps getting kicked down the can. The can keeps getting kicked down the line, I suppose. The last major Autopia refurbishment took place in 2016 when Honda became the ride's sponsor. Previous ride sponsors were Chevron from 2000 to 2012 and Richfield Oil back in 55 all the way to 1970, according to D23. The 1955 opening day attraction was redesigned in 1959, 1964, 1968. According to D23, I can tell you right now, is redesigned multiple times there. Extensive remodeling related to the Chevron sponsorship closed Autopia from September 1999 through June of 2000, according to D23. Disneyland's 10-year contract with Honda to sponsor Autopia ends in 2026, according to Walt Disney World News today. Okay, that's what I wanted to get to right there, because here's the thing, folks. To convert this to electric is going to be a major undertaking. It's going to be significant because you have to decide whether or not you want these cars to be powered by electric, like on like a third rail kind of thing, or whether you want them to be powered by like lithium-ion batteries. And that's what I think Disney is trying to decide right now, why it's kept this whole project up, because it's not easy. I mean, these are basically like lawnmower engines, putting these cars along this raceway here. But how does that change when you have, like, let's say, the charging that wireless ride vehicles have to undergo? Like, how do you install the infrastructure related to actually maintaining that process? That's not easy right there. It takes a tremendous amount of power in order to power those vehicles, like at Rise of Resistance, let's say, for example. In fact, that's a lot of the reason why Disney World's version of the attraction goes down is because of power-related issues. So are we getting into that game with Autopia as it exists at Disney Resort, where, let's be honest, there's aging infrastructure there? That's a serious issue. Now, maybe you can have it so that that this attraction is powered by a third rail, but then now we have to install track infrastructure along the whole course right there. So there's really no easy answer, and I guess that's why they're testing out a prototype vehicle. Now, if they are testing one out on the existing track, that leads me to believe, okay, they're going with the battery operation. A battery is not cheap in order to buy into. Obviously, you need electric motors in order for that battery to power something, and also too, you need the batteries themselves, and then you need charging stations, and then it comes down to, okay, well, how quickly do these batteries actually degrade? How can we actually facilitate the repair of an electric engine? All those things need answering, I do believe. So in my mind, when I look at something like this could be an incredible thing, or it could be the end of this attraction as we know it. I am just reminded, folks, of when Disney decided to change out People Mover for the rocket rods. People don't know that story, and why that track that you see on screen right there is empty above your head. You'll know that since 1967, the People Mover ran along those rails unobstructed, and honestly, with amazing uptime. The idea of having a bunch of motors embedded in the actual track and pushing along those People Mover cars up top was a brilliant idea and wonderful execution by Bob Gurr, John Hench, and others that actually made that attraction possible. Very, very good stuff, and it ran, seamlessly up until the mid-1990s when it was actually closed to be converted into the rocket rods. Now, the rocket rods, interestingly enough, were supposed to have a sponsor. I believe that was either Goodyear or GM. I can't quite remember. I think Goodyear had sponsored previous iterations of this attraction because obviously they had tires embedded in the track, at least at Disneyland's version. It's not the LIMs that you see at Walt Disney World. There were actually tires embedded in the track propelling you, and I believe Goodyear sponsored it for a good while there, but I think Disney wanted GM to sponsor the rocket rods. The reason why is because the rocket rods would use the same technology as Test Track that was already being installed over there at Epcot, right? Because obviously you have the transportation pavilion, the what was that attraction called? Oh no, the predecessor attraction for Test Track. Chat, help me out. I'm in a bind here. Uh-oh. Let's see what it is. It's World of Motion. World of Motion. Okay, I got you. I got it, chat. Don't worry. It's okay. World of Motion, right? GM, obviously that was on a 10-year time gap right there for sponsorships. And GM really wanted, the update for World of Motion to be based around cars, right? Because they were selling cars. And it's like, okay, well, we really want to place people maybe in a car and have a car-driven attraction that we can sell cars with. Okay, fair enough. So that's where the idea for Test Track comes out of. Well, Test Track, when it was actually testing, had huge issues. In fact, I believe one car actually skipped the rail, went into the wall, and it was like, that's not good. Nobody was hurt, thankfully, but it's like we have to ensure that doesn't happen again. And that led to a delay, which, unfortunately, because Imagineering couldn't actually get the attraction open in a timely fashion that they promised beforehand, well, guess what? GM dropped their sponsorship of the rocket rods at Disneyland. Dang it! And they did it when People Mover was already being converted. So now you're in a bind. Now it's like, okay, do we go forward with this? Do we not? The Imagineers decided to go forward with rocket rods, but they were going to cut costs any way they could in order to get that e-ticket attraction for Tomorrowland 1998. And how they do that? Well, they skipped on banking the track, which was absolutely, it was absolutely important to have that track bank the way that they intended it to do, because without that, now your attraction that was all about high speed had to slow down for each one of those curves. And if Test Track was going through tires like crazy, which it was at the time, Rocket Rods was going through tires insanely, because imagine having to slow down each time in order to make a turn and then speed up again. There's a lot of wear and tear there that the Imagineers weren't necessarily thinking about. And also, too, the computer systems couldn't keep up, and that attraction had severe downtime, and, well, that's why they closed it after the summer right there, suggesting that, hey, we're going to go ahead and go back and fix this. It's going to be awesome. And then it never opened again. And that was the end for Rocket Rods, but also the end of the People Mover. And the tracks have sit there dormant for 30 years ever since. Oh, almost 30 years. I feel like I took you to this entire story because I feel like that 1990s era thinking, I mean, we just had an entire show based around the degradation of these attractions, right? These classic attractions that we all grew up with, that we want to see again. There's no spinning function on, Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. There's no piranhas out there at Jungle Cruise. This 1990s era thinking of let's go ahead and increase efficiencies and not maintain certain effects. Let's go ahead and deprecate them and all of that. That's kind of coming back a little bit. And I do wonder if they're jumping into this without really thinking ahead on what the consequences might actually be for this. I hope that they actually save those lawnmower engines because they might need them if this isn't pulled off successfully. That's why I said on X, actually, you can follow me at VashSky over there on X. I said this is either going to be incredible or it's going to be the end of the attraction. Because, I mean, when you look in the same park, in the same land, at that blank rocket rod track up above you, you kind of get a lot of these vibes when it comes to this. If they don't do it correctly, if they don't do it properly, this might be the end of Autopia as we know it, at least at Disneyland. And it's maybe why they're not doing anything with the Tomorrowland Speedway out there in Walt Disney World. Because imagine if Walt Disney World operations actually went through it and they're in the same issue. No. They want to leave the experimental tech and everything like that to Disneyland first. And then maybe, if it's successful, this implementation anyway, at Disneyland, maybe then we actually see implementation over there at the other parks, like Paris, for example. I think Hong Kong has it as well. Tokyo, I do believe they closed it in 2017. So there you go. That's kind of what I think about this. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about a little bit about the prospect of maybe getting a new Tomorrowland from all of this, because I think that's also a very interesting discussion as well. Going Jogi with the 499. Thank you so much for supporting this channel the way you do, modding every single show, but also to supporting us through Super Chats. Thank you so much for that. Doesn't the doesn't the dark water system prevent them from removing Autopia? I thought it ran under part of it. It certainly makes it more difficult to modify anything in regards to Autopia, that's for sure. That's the problem, is everything is so interlinked in that area, like the monorail, like the People Mover track, like the Autopia rails and so forth, sitting over a show building containing Nemo. It just is very, very complicated in this area. It's also why I have a lot of that footage of some of these other attractions, because they all kind of interconnect in this area. So when you look at the prospect of actually, altering this in any significant way, well, that is certainly a consideration. How will this affect the ecosystem out there of these various interlinking attractions? How will it affect submarine voyage and so forth? So they might be thinking, look, let's not modify the track, because that obviously will take infrastructure money that we don't necessarily want to spend. Let's go ahead and just modify the vehicles themselves. That suggests to me they're going to go battery operated, which would be the easiest way to do that. And now I think, okay, well, now how do you get power to all those vehicles? How do you charge them? And what's your maintenance cycle going to actually look like? Not just for tires, not just for motors if required, but also too, batteries. That is going to be a big, big question mark for the longevity of this specific attraction, if in fact they go forward with this this Green New Deal. Sorry, I didn't do it. No, this greenification of this classic attraction. That is for sure. Let's see here. Brudio says, I only got to ride the rocket rods once. Every day I lose a little bit of memory that I have of it. Yes, I do agree there, Brudio. I was able to ride the rocket rods, fortunately. Probably 10 times, which I'm extremely fortunate to have had that opportunity. I mean, when our family used to go, we used to prioritize, obviously, the big rides and ride them a number of times, not knowing, in fact, that when you did that, sometimes it's going to be with attractions that are only going to last for the season, right? And maybe some other times it's going to be attractions that maybe you have effects that will be deprecated soon thereafter. Like, for example, the ice machine effect in the Indiana Jones attraction, Indiana Jones and the Forbidden Night. Right when that opened with that amazing effect, it's like, oh, it's so great, it's so awesome, and then it gets turned off almost immediately thereafter. And well, all you have is your memory and maybe some recordings from that time, but that's all that's left right there. And my heart weeps a little bit whenever I see that empty, blank People Mover / Rocket track, because I'm like, man, if only the Imagineers knew what they were doing. If only they can get a sponsor. If only they did it properly. If only they didn't do it at all. Would we still have an attraction up there? It's just really sad. And there's no excuse that one of the most attended theme parks in the world, that being Disneyland, has had nothing on that track for almost 30 years. Not good. But you can see they could get out of their, they could move out of their skis just a little bit and obviously get themselves into big, big trouble. I think they want to avoid that. Just can't help, though, that something might go horribly wrong with this classic attraction.
Time to be turning around. If only you could.
If only you could. That's the thing. If only you could. That's the big deal right there. Let's see. We have a couple of minutes before we got to get on to, I think, Marvin's channel right here. I want to make sure that he is up and ready here. I want to make sure that we're in a nice position. Let's see. Yes. Looks like he is going at his 5 o'clock start time. That'd be my time, 8 o'clock Eastern, obviously. G. Brown, 6808. I had annual passes in the 90s and never was able to ride the rocket rods because it was always closed down. I know. You had to be at the right time. And Honestly, this would happen regularly, right? You get in line, you wait. I'm telling you, folks, these lines were like 3 to 5 hours for this thing. It was nuts how long the wait time was for this, because it was the capacity was almost nothing compared to the People Mover, which was like anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 an hour, which is crazy by modern standards. Rocket Rods was, I mean, I think they said maybe 1,500 to 1,800, but I doubt it was actually that much. I think it was like maybe 900 to 1,200, something like that. Anyway, you wait 3 to 5 hours, you get up there, and it breaks. Happens a lot. And there are, I think, even videos of it breaking while people were in line and so forth out there. Really not very good at all. Very, very sad. Let's see right here. Do you have something up on screen there, MJ, that you want to go ahead and highlight? I do apologize. I might have clicked out of it. I do apologize if we miss anybody with questions or anything like that. I try to get them, and I try to be on point with those things. 10 times! It's got to be a record. I only got to do them once. Yeah, I know. It has to be a record. I might be the guy that has the most rides on that ever. Like, I might be, because I've never heard of anybody riding as much as I did. And so I just think about it, and it's like, wow, I'm actually really fortunate that I was in that position right there, because I'd be left staring for 30 years at that track, wondering what if. Ever since then. Very, very cool stuff indeed. We also have just one more story that I want to go ahead and highlight here. Why? Not because we haven't covered it, but because I have a clip that I specifically have for this moment right here. You remember this story? Everybody saw it. I had to. Disney guest jumps out of Kilimanjaro Safari's truck to relieve himself in the bushes. Not good. You can see this original TikTok video here of him going over there and doing the business right there. We're gonna go ahead and skip that because I don't even know what I can actually show on YouTube. And then he skips out of there and climbs back in. Again, this is Kilimanjaro Safaris, okay? Kilimanjaro Safaris. Sorry, I had to put that little joke in there as well. Come on, what are you doing? Like, this is unbelievable. Like, what do I always say, MJ? What do I always say when it comes to riding an attraction and where you should be seated within it?
Where does he think he's going? When you gotta go, you gotta go.
It's not quite what I was thinking, but that's the clip I certainly wanted to play right there for this occasion, because, man, what are you doing? You gotta stay in the vehicle, hands on his feet and legs inside the vehicle at all times until you're asked to exit by a cast member or the vehicle comes to a complete stop in the station. What are you doing? This is absolutely awful. Again, this is out there. By the way, this is out there in the safari. Okay, you have animals that get scared. You have animals that could, get very territorial. I think there are rhinos out here in this area. Like, this is the worst place to get out of your vehicle. And that's why the Jurassic Park clip, I believe, is appropriate.
Where does he think he's going? When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Never has a more appropriate clip played. Very, very interesting stuff there. I've been trying to get some more information on this and whether or not he was trespassed. Apparently, when he was climbing back in, the cast member was like, hey, don't climb back up. You come over here. So I believe he was radioing in some backup for this particular situation right here. And hopefully they don't make this a seatbelt attraction. Oh my goodness gracious. Come on, guys. We need you to,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Truer words have never been spoken. All right, I think that just about concludes our amazing show right here. Let me know, by the way, if you, prefer a longer show, shorter show, more stories, less stories. I want to go ahead and certainly hear your feedback right here. I also want to know whether or not you want this show to be longer or shorter. If you are longer, we'll just have to, start at an earlier time. Maybe, I don't know. Right now it's 7 p.m. Eastern, maybe 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Not sure. I want to go ahead and know from you guys what you actually feel about these shows, how you're actually reacting to them, and what we can do to improve our content for you. But, like I said, that just about does it for our amazing program right here. I do believe Marvin Montanero is starting up his stream right now, so we got to get to that post-haste right here. But before I do, I want to go ahead and let you all know that we do have another stream coming up, that being on Saturday. Now, this time, it's only for the Sky Watchers. That means the members of the channel right here. So, if you are a Sky Watcher, please go ahead and tune in to our show on Saturday with Vash and Vixen right there. Vixen already in the chat right there. That's awesome. That show is going to be at 3 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. I think it's going to be really, really cool. We're talking about all kinds of stuff. Classic Hollywood, maybe through the lens of, well, Anthony Daniels as he played C-3PO. Roger Rabbit, because, hey, you know what? We're talking about Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. We might as well talk about the origins of that attraction with the movie itself and a whole lot more for you. I think it's going to be really, really fun. That show, though, at 3 p.m. Eastern. This show occurs every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern after that Park Place, and on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hey, maybe it's 6:30. I want to go ahead and know from you, though, what you think about that crazy idea. Thank you so much for tuning into this show. And, hey, you know what? Remember, Skylanders, Skywatchers, the sky is the limit.